What's up, everybody? I am back, and I got a couple of requests to make a video on the windsurfing jibe, in particular the step jibe. Not the strap-to-strap jibe. We're not talking about jibing on the foil, but this video is about the windsurfing step jibe. Now, we've all seen dozens of great videos on how to jibe, step-by-step explanations of, the first phase of the jibe, the second phase of the jibe, what to do with your feet, what to do with the sail. There's dozens of great videos out there on that, and I'm going to cover some of that in this video as well. But what I really want to cover is the how to learn to jibe. What is the process of learning, and how can you get better at that process? Because I don't know about all of you, but I'm just an average athlete. I don't have a lot of talent, but I put a lot of work into learning so that I can learn faster, so that I can improve quicker, and that just increases my chances, increases my odds of getting better at the sport. So I really want to focus on the process of learning today, and like I said, I'll also get into some of the how-to aspects of the windsurfing step jibe. The first thing that I want to make very clear is that jibing in windsurfing can take a very long time, especially if you're just an average athlete like I am. And average being average means that most of us are in that ballpark. So expect that it's going to take some time and you're going to need some patience. I have a friend of mine, a windsurfing friend. His name is Jamie. And I remember about 5-6 years ago, I was asking him, how did you get so good at jibing? And he said, you know what, Eric? I've been doing this a long time. And he's right. It does take a long time to learn the windsurfing step jibe. Now, one of the things that I want to start out with is that there's two types of learners when it comes to windsurfing and any sport. So I want to go through those learners, and I want to talk about type 1 and type 2. These are my own names that I made up for it, but just so that we can discern the difference. So a type 1 learner when it comes to windsurfing or other skill sports, that type of learner can see the jibe in their head. They can sit on their couch at home. They can see themselves on the board. They can see themselves going through the turn. They can visualize the sail flipping, and it's very clear and obvious to them. That's just the way that their mind works. So we're going to call this the type 1 learner. Now the type 2 learner, they cannot see that. If they sit on their couch and you ask them to try to visualize the jibe in their head, visualize the beach where they are, visualize what's in front of them, they just can't see it. And so they're going to have a very different way of learning than the type 1 windsurfer. And I've talked to a lot of people at the beach, and I've met a lot of people who are both type 1 and type 2 learners. And the interesting thing here is that I am a type 1 learner, and my wife is a type 2 learner. So our conversations about windsurfing and the jibe in particular have been very interesting over the years because we learn completely differently. So for me, as a type 1 learner, visualization is an important part. For my wife, as a type 2 learner, doing and feeling what she's doing is a really important part. So I'm going to relate these type 1 and type 2 descriptions as we go through this discussion, and hopefully it'll help you to get a better idea of how you learn so that you can apply it to your own improvement in the windsurfing step jibe. The question I want to pose here is there a better way to learn than maybe the way you've been trying to learn the step jibe? And the first part of this that I want to make note of that's really important is it's so important to have a plan. Have a plan of how you're going to learn the step jibe. If you look at any professional in any field, they always have a plan, and it needs to be a written plan. If you have a written plan of how you're going to approach something, how you're going to improve, and if you adjust and modify that plan as you go along so that you can continue to improve, it will greatly increase your chances of success. And you can apply that to anything in life. It can be your career, it can be with personal money management for your household, it can be with your health, it can be with any number of things. A written plan is crucial. And if you don't have a written plan, you're probably not taking it as serious as you could. So if you really, really want to get good at the windsurfing step jibe, make a written plan of how you're going to attack it. It's important to have a plan for anything, even making this video. I take and make a plan. Here it is right here. I take it, I make an outline of everything I'm going to talk about in the video, and then in between cuts, I look down and I see what's next, and I remind myself of what I'm going to say. If you want to be successful, have a plan. A plan will help you to become a better windsurfer and a better jiber. Let me start to give you some examples of how you can attack the jibe and what you might want to put into your plan. So you can start with watching videos. Now, depending on if you're a type 1 or type 2 learner, watching videos of professionals jibing is going to have a little bit different meaning for you. So for example, a type 1 learner like myself, when I watch a video, I'm memorizing the steps. I'm seeing what they're doing. I can close my eyes and see what I just saw on TV. I can see myself on the water. So I'm going to take that vision of what I saw in the video, I'm going to take that with me out onto the water. A type 2 learner like my wife is more going to try and see what a specific move is like and get a feel for that. And so she's going to try and feel how that looked in the video. So another tool you might want to have in your plan is taking video of yourself. If you have someone in your family or maybe another windsurfer who has a camera with a decent zoom, you can use that as a great tool. Get someone to take video of yourself and then find someone who's good at the windsurfing step jibe to help you analyze what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. A huge factor that needs to be part of your plan is to know what you're going to do when you get on the water. What is your goal for that session? Because so many times I've talked to people and they say, Eric, I want to get better at the jibe. What can I do? And I asked them, well, what was your plan when you got in the water today? And they didn't have one. They had no plan. They just went out there and figured they're going to try to jibe and see how it goes. Have a plan for what you're going to do when you get on the water. Now, that could change when you get to the beach. That could change halfway through your session. Why? Because the conditions are unknown. You could be planning to work on the entry part of your jibe, and then you might find that the conditions are totally different and you even got to switch sports. You might have to go and foil that day. So have a plan, but be flexible with your plan because it's going to be dependent on what the conditions are like when you get to the beach. Something else you might want to do is at-home practice. One of the techniques I've used at home is I stand in my kitchen and I've got these linoleum tiles on my kitchen floor. And so I'll look at one of the lines on the floor and I'll pretend that that's the center line of my windsurfing board. And I'll take one foot and I'll put it in the front foot position that I would be in if I was on the water windsurfing. And I'll take the other foot and put it in the back foot position. And so then I can switch my feet in the kitchen. And you can do that 10 times, you can do that 50 times, you can do that 100 times. And what that does is it builds muscle memory. Get faster at it, get better at making sure your feet land in the right spot. Because when you get on the water, it's going to be more difficult than in your kitchen, certainly, because the water's bouncing up and down, the wind's tugging on your sail, etc. So get good at it in your kitchen, do it in your living room, wherever you want. But use at-home practice. Build that muscle memory. Do it hundreds of times. Do it thousands of times. And that will help to train your mind and body to work together. So now let's talk a little bit about the how-to of the windsurfing step jibe. We've talked about how to learn. So now let's take that into the how to perform the actual actions. Now I break it up into 4 phases. A lot of the videos that you'll see online, they break the jibe up into 3 phases. I like to break it up into 4. I think it's a little bit easier to focus on that way. So the first phase of the jibe is what I call the prep and the entry. And with the prep and the entry, what you're going to do is you're going to get out of the harness, you're going to take your back foot, you're going to put it across the board, you're going to sink down low, let your hips sink down, and then you're going to let the pull of the sail gradually start to pull you over the board so you start to move into a carving position. Also during this prep and entry phase, as you start to get into that carving position, you're going to rake the sail back a little, you're going to sheet it in, you're going to let your body move forward, and that's going to put you in the proper position to get into the prep and entry phase of the jibe. So now phase 2 is the main carve. So we've done the prep and entry, now we're well into the carve. We're starting to go downwind. We've got that sail raked back, we've got it sheeted in, our body is somewhat forward. At about 90 degrees, you're gonna start to sheet out, and eventually you're going to end up clew first. Because remember, we're doing the step jibe here, not a strap to strap jibe. So we're gonna end up going clew first, and as we're starting to go clew first, we're keeping good weight on that front foot so that we can continue to stay on plane and keep speed. Now once you get clew first, you're gonna be in a twisted position, kind of like a switch stance position. You need to get comfortable with this, and it's gonna take some time. It was very uncomfortable for me for years to be in that twisted clew first position. So you're really gonna need to take some time and pay your dues. You're gonna fall in a lot, and that's okay. That's part of the learning process. So now the third phase is what I call the transition phase. This is where we're going to switch the feet and flip the sail. Really critical part of the carving step jibe. Now when you switch the feet, you need to learn to do it ninja quick. It's almost like a hop. You're doing both feet almost at the same time. You're going to take the front strap out of the foot strap first and pull it back. And then the back foot's going to become the new front foot, but it's almost simultaneously, not quite simultaneously, but it's really fast. I like to call it ninja quick. It's really, really fast. When you pull that front foot out and that front foot now becomes your new back foot, you need to make sure that the heel of that new back foot is far enough to the windward rail that you can weight that side of the board a little bit to keep the carve going, to keep the turn going. If you don't weight the heel of that foot and you end up weighting the toes of that foot, the board's gonna bobble and you're gonna end up doing a squiggle in the water, and we don't want that. Now comes the sail flip. When you flip the sail, keep that mast in front of you. Do not let it drop to the leeward side of the board, because if it does, you'll have no power in the sail and the board's gonna stall and you're gonna stop, probably gonna fall in. And more importantly, when that sail flips, as it's flipping, take that front hand, what's now the new front hand, and pull it across your face into the wind a little bit. You don't want to pull it into the wind too far, but you got to pull it into the wind a little bit to maintain power in the sail. If you don't pull it across your face, the sail is going to lose some power and you will lose some speed. So keep that in mind. It's a very critical part of the jibe that a lot of people don't explain, and I found that it helps drastically in keeping good speed. So now you flip the sail and we're ready for phase 4, which is what I call the exit phase. And in the exit phase, you're basically going to drop down low again and sheet in to increase your speed as quickly as possible. So those are the 4 phases of the carving step jibe that I use, and that's helped me to really improve my jibes over the years. And now that we've finished the how-to part, I want to go back and reinforce the how-to learn part. Make sure you have a written plan. Write down the techniques you're going to use when you get to the water for each session. Make sure you have a plan for what you're going to work on that day. Be flexible enough to change that plan if the wind conditions change, and that is going to help you to have more focus. If you're a type 1 learner, practice visualization at home, in your living room, in your kitchen, wherever you are. If you're a type 2 learner, watch those videos and try to remember how it feels watching those videos and apply that to yourself when you're on the water. So I hope this video has helped you. I really wish you great success in the windsurfing step jibe. Please subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it if you do, and you'll get more videos like this. So have a great day, and we'll see you on the water.